Hello. So I'm feeling a pull to do a Hierogamic union template tap-in. And even the phrase feeling the pull feels significant. Feeling the pull. So there have been quite a few different energetic strands that I've been feeling, and I was just reading an article from Maya Tumid. And it just inspired me, I suppose. Plasma, the basic substance for all life. And the subtitle is We Are Light Plasma Beings. And the significance to the inspiration, I suppose. Plasma has been coming up a lot lately. And someone named, I believe her handle is Dina the Alien on YouTube. And she speaks a lot about plasma as well. And a way she described, of course, there's like everything, there's a multi-dimensionality to plasma. And she broke down this idea of masculine and feminine, and how the consciousness comes as the masculine, the Christos, and then the plasma, the feminine, the divine feminine, the hidden, because a lot of the multidimensionality of plasma has not yet been, if you want to say understood fully by mainstream science, is that feminine, it's the vehicle that houses the consciousness. So the feminine can often represent the negative charge, the darkness, the womb that holds the creation, and then the consciousness, that masculine Christos, the light, the positive charge. Anyway, so I may read a little bit from this article, because I was really drawn to this one paragraph. So during the planetary ascension event known as Light Principle 40, oh, this is not the one I was thinking of, but okay, I'll start here. The original blue hole overlaid with the Adonai Kodesh will generate high-frequency rotational fields of plasma around its core, drawing upon the solar shield to create an antimatter or a midnight sun. Beyond the physical state, the Earth is enveloped in a radiant etheric plasma field known as the light plasma field, LPF, which interacts with majestic multi-angelic vessels like the Kux Ansata. In higher dimensional frequencies of the new Earth reality, plasma manifests as, quote, light plasmas, which act as living collectors of radiant light, pulsed into electromagnetic waves, moving through the vaporous ethers of the Hespera zone like jellyfish. These light plasmas pump shimmering, light-charged particles of vapor through their amorphous forms. They function as cosmic, quote, blood banks, allowing the new flora and fauna of the realm to draw specific light molecules for their biological and spiritual sustenance. These lotus loci light plasma forms are the highly refined creational expressions of the Earth's current electroplasma activity. Finally, plasma is utilized by higher intelligence as the foundational matrix for advanced spiritual technologies, quantum plasma computers, or centropic value relators. Maybe someone here is a realtor, or maybe you're buying a house or about to buy a house, because I just totally heard the word realtor. Are consciousness-based systems that operate within the sub-quantum plasma field. Unlike conventional machines, these light-responsive intelligences interact directly with the light mind to synthesize thought and matter across dimensional thresholds. Similarly, advanced cosmic ships utilize a plasma-based solution as their central mind, Stored thought waves are fed into this plasmic reactor to trigger the precise energy flows that pilot and physically sustain the craft. Even in modern earthly applications, those advise the use of laboratory-created bioplasma as the ideal fluid medium for carrying electrosonic pulses to charge guardian crystals. Plasma is a multidimensional substance that serves as a vital bridge between spirit, matter, and consciousness, intricately weaving together the microcosm of the human being with the macrocosm of the planet and the cosmos. Within the human vessel, body plasma acts as a medium for both physical health and spiritual transmutation. So, I felt really drawn to this because the last few transmissions that have been coming through, just saw 555 on the timer, and I also saw 555 quite a few times in connection to the Hierogamic template recently. And some of you may be like, what is this? How is this relating? So the idea of the Hierogamic union is, they say, like literally uniting like an alchemy spirit and matter, or marrying the inner self and the high self, or some people call it like a higher power, the divine, whatever you want to call it. So when we understand from some of like the esoteric teachings and mythology and these, multiple ideologies of how it's been written, for countless years, there's also like the human lived experience of how this happens. And that's why I like tapping into some of the whether it's like, again, written texts about the alchemical spiritual process and the transmutation, people like Maya and Archimed, who are writing about more of the I don't really want to call it scientific because it's not like mainstream science, but the mechanics of the ascension mechanics, and why I feel so dedicated on some level to also continue to have my own experiences with researching and remembering and channeling and externally learning about ascension mechanics and how it then is integrated in the body. So there's all of these components, like understanding it from this bioplasma perspective, the multidimensionality of plasma, and why that's so important right now. And in the last couple transmissions, as I was saying, one of the transmissions came through speaking about UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, and plasma technology, intercrystalline technology. And I was being shown in real time when I was recording one of the transmissions about the like microscopic inner technology that can happen when we like have this sort of precise, or the word precision is coming through, this precision of tuning into like more of the microscopic light rays, for example, and the crystalline Keelan codes that live within, and being able to actually like, I was being shown, if you have listened to that transmission, I was talking about like, for some reason, like being shown Inspector Gadget, and just like the way that, I believe it was like a telescope that would come out of his eye. He had like everything on his person, but this is supposed to be a representation of course, that like inner crystalline technology, plasma, understanding plasma, and how that relates to this Hierogamic template union of Hierogamos, and literally bridging together spirit, matter, and the multidimensionality, how this is actually, again, playing out as a human being at this incarnated point on Earth, So there's like the many perspectives and levels. I just saw 1000 on the clock, and I've been seeing zeros the last like 24 hours. Right? So accessing the 0 point, infinite potential, and again, how we ground that back into everyday, earthly, mundane human life, and the seemingly magical and synchronistic components that start to weave into your everyday life as we like embody these understandings and teachings. And something really fascinating that came to mind is the what has been called the gem body has been coming up really strongly. And also I've been seeing symbolism about a halo, and this video just popped up about a quantum halo. And the halo, or the idea of the halo, has been coming through really strongly off and on for the last few years. And in this video talking about like a quantum halo, this idea, sort of what I was reading that Maya Nartumid released with embodying the multi-dimensionality of the angelic light vessel. I don't know if that's what it's at, but that's what I'm hearing. And that it came through, it's coming through understanding. So she goes into more detail about how the electromagnetic field and the atmospheric pressure of the earth is like constantly regenerating like another layer of the field, right? That 0 point, there's always like creation, movement. And then in the video I was just listening to, the quantum halo, it's like, you know, our field is an oscillating living field. You know, there's so like when people say like I can see auras, which I also can see auras, there's a living movement to it. So one person may see one part of the aura or interpret it one way, but you know, it's like an art, like anything else. And even in the like photonic light, bioplasma, if you look at, I know I talk about this a lot, but she, in the article, Maya brought up the jellyfish. And I have done a transmission about jellyfish a while back, and I've had like astral encounters with these bioluminescent jellyfish in caves before. And there's something coming through about remembering our own, like the mitochondria has been coming up, and like working with the body and these different layers and the multidimensionality of it that brings back online, or at least the eyes to see and remember this like biophotonic, bioluminescent plasma. And I talk a lot about octopi or octopus over the years, and the chromatophores and the way that their bodies can shift and change color so quickly. Like when I started having these experiences where I was seeing my own skin in in color, you know, and then all of this external information started to show up as I was asking questions and trying to understand it more deeply. And I share this because I do feel like a lot of us that have, you know, like if you ask like a little kid, sometimes like you may think it's just their imagination, but like I was walking with my nephew at night and we were talking about the sky, and I asked him what he saw, and like he looked at a star and he was like, oh, it's a rainbow star. Don't you see all the colors? And I think my sister was like, oh yeah, sure. But like now that I've tapped back into that part of me, I also will see similar things like that. And I've had conversations with my sister over the years, actually, where I'm seeing multiple living light color fields, you know, off of the sun. And I'm sure a lot of you are having these experiences too, or maybe you will be soon. And I've asked her, like, what color do you see when you look at the sun? And she's like, what are you talking about? It's yellow. Like, did you take mushrooms? Are you tripping? So this was like years ago when I first started having these experiences come back online, like more strongly. And just, you know, I just wanted to check to see if anyone else around me was experiencing this. And eventually, you know, years later, I did start meeting people who were also having those experiences. But for a while, it was I wasn't really meeting many people at all who were also having these experiences. So, and I feel like that seems to be a theme as well that I've been realizing. Like have been meeting a few people lately who are still kind of coming out of that dark night evolution of like that point of consciousness where you feel like you're the only one. And like I really feel like that is by design, because almost every single person that I've had now that I have like one-to-one sessions, you know, I have had clients over the years, almost I can't think of one that has not gone through a phase like that where you feel like you're the only one, and you know there's like this loneliness that almost like cracks you open, you know, and then you start to emit this more magnetic frequency to like more like experiences. And it really, I'm not saying every single person has to experience this, but from what I have noticed as a pattern, it seems to be, and including myself. So yeah, there seems to be this, back to the opening phrase, this pull, and as the, I guess I'll say like the masculine charge in this Hierogamic template, bringing it back more now to like the human experience. There's a song that came on, and then after I heard the song, it was in the car, multiple things came through at a very similar like theme or message. And the song is Caribbean Queen. I forget who sings it. Billy Ocean, maybe? Hold on, I want to pull it up because this Caribbean Queen, now we're sharing the same dream, in our hearts they beat as one, no more love on the run. And like that, no more love on the run, that line. So like multiple other people that I've listened to on YouTube or just other signs and synchronicities kept, like there's something, you know, when people say, and sometimes externalized relationship dynamics of this Hierogamic template, there can be that whole like idea of like running, chasing, and no more love on the run. There's just something about, you know, whether it's a romantic relationship or really just like multiple areas of life, like an inner masculine aspect. Perhaps there were things just, again, because of the specific emitted frequency within your auric field that has been like coded to run, you know, even if you didn't realize maybe you were running from certain things or not able to hold a specific thing. Again, this feels like it's all by design, you know, like it's working through these like 404 error codes that I've been talking about that are coming through, and re-encoding to this living light vessel of the like multidimensional embodiment of remembering the plasma, basically, is the way it's coming through. And it's so interesting because after I heard that song, within very short time periods, I saw the number 2343, which is like a very specific masculine feminine integration number for me. You know, like we can have different like codes or meanings with our own like high self or spirit team or angelic realms, however you communicate. And that number for me is very significant. And I saw it right when I was hearing that song. And I hadn't seen it in a while. And then I kept seeing 555. Someone here maybe like having experiences from like a pet that has passed on. I'm seeing a dog in particular, but it could really be any pet. So if you've been feeling that around lately, I don't know, just like I'm seeing someone like finding an old toy or an old ball, or like having a memory of that, or feeling like you see it out of the corner of your eye, or having a dream about it. That's just one example, but there's something for someone there. I've had quite a few dreams and astral experiences about dogs representing like the masculine collective. especially in different forms of the dog, which I wasn't planning on talking about this, but this is what I'm being shown. So I've had like a giant puppy floating over me when I was having an out-of-body experience, and the whole time this puppy was with me, it was like emitting this masculine, like, you know, the essence of the innocence of like the masculine collective. And, you know, it could stand for puppy love, but it felt like more than just puppy love. Like it was like this, it was floating over me, and it was very large. It was like so protective, but childlike at the same time. So I feel like this masculine collective is kind of going through that, perhaps that phase of feeling alone and cracked open, to come back into that more natural state of protection, and also this like childlike innocence at the same time. And then I've also had dreams of the masculine collective as a dog, as like a stray dog, where it would find me on the street, and then I would like be rushing and have to go somewhere and try, you know, I have to like catch a flight or do something, and the dog like wouldn't leave my side, and I had to figure out like how to get this dog a home, and it like would not leave, yet I was also trying to do other things. So like, you know, the feminine collective and me representing the feminine collective in the dream as like also always being in a rush, right? And like that hyper masculine and like the nurturing aspect and wanting to take care of this stray dog, and then the stray dog representing like, you know, needing time and nurturance and compassion and slowing down and, you know, accepting it the way it is and allowing it to warm up. Like there's so much symbolism there. Yeah, there's been a few more, but I'm gonna let that come through organically if it's meant to. And it's funny because I wanted to work on like, I have quite a few open projects right now that I'm still working with, and I just could not work on anything else. Like this was just, I could feel it coming through so strongly for a few days now, but every time I tried to record, it just like wasn't the right time. And then all of a sudden when I was going to work on Substack, and then I don't know, I just got this urge to hit record, and I just saw 22:22 on the timer. Yeah, like the alignment just sort of opened. So I also had seen, I cannot even tell you, yesterday, at least 6 to 8 references to chicken. And like, I don't really eat a lot of chicken. It's not really in my reality much. Like I don't really think about eating chicken or talk about it. Although I was staying with my sister and they eat a lot of chicken, but like in general. And I haven't been there in almost a month. So anyway, KFC chicken was coming through. KFC, that could be something for someone. Chicken cordon bleu, which I have not thought of in like, I cannot even tell you how many years. That was coming through. Also that I learned some dogs are allergic to chicken. I don't know, maybe that's for someone. Maybe you've been feeding your dog chicken and having a weird reaction. That won't be for everyone, obviously, but yeah, there was definitely something significant about chicken. Symbolically, chickens can represent fertility, prosperity, and a grounded connection to the earth, which is interesting because I have been feeling this call. So I believe in astrology, Pisces rules the feet. And I have been feeling, and I talked about this in the last transmission, my feet have been just needing so much more attention than like I feel like they ever have. And I've been really like trying my best to give the attention that they need. Like it's so interesting, like when I walk, I can like almost feel these collective imbalances through my feet. And I was feeling it today. I was walking in my mom's kitchen, and I was refilling the animals' water bowl and like just giving them food and stuff. And as I was walking, I was like, yeah, it's hard to explain, but like I could feel like grid imbalances in my feet. And so I sat and I gave myself like a little, I've been doing black Jamaican castor oil massages on my feet and my toenails, and just sort of like doing my best to like roll out my feet and, you know, anyway, so there is something really significant about not only grounding, but like how we're taking care of our feet, and especially because Pisces rules the feet, which I feel like is so interesting, because Pisces is like, you know, a very watery ungrounded sign. So I guess that's why it's so important to take care of our feet in the grounded sense. You might hear me typing. I'm just making sure I'm correct that Pisces rules the feet. Yeah, in medical astrology, Pisces rules the feet, the toes, and the lymphatic system. As the 12th and final sign of the zodiac, Pisces represents the completion of the body cycle. Aries rules the head, linking the sign to the foundation of the body. Yeah, so body care, sensitivity, and care, especially during this process of, like, if you want to call it that quantum halo activation, as well as the remembrance and embodiment of the multidimensionality of plasma and these like angelic light fields is what they're showing me. And when we reintegrate that back within our bodies, in our you know, and I talk about this a lot too, like in anthroposophy, the etherization of the blood. Beets have been coming through a lot lately, like beets, carrots. Like I just got myself some carrot juice, and like just after a few sips, I swear I could feel a difference. I've been actually like switching up the way I have been doing some things, and I'm not suggesting anyone does anything. I'm just bringing through some information that is coming in for some of you that may already be feeling an intuitive nudge, or if something sparks an interest in you. Yeah, I've been actually having fruit for breakfast, and I'm sure a lot of people don't agree with that for a lot of reasons, but like that's what I feel like my body needs right now. I'm using breakfast lightly. I've been some days eating food like later, like maybe around noon, and I start with fruit, and yeah, I feel like an instant hydration that my body is really needing right now. So there's something about like honoring your body in different cycles, and I know I do talk about this a lot, like honoring your own rhythms, because a few weeks ago I was so hungry and I just felt like I needed like more food, like I was needing actual food, and now I feel like I'm needing like more fruit. And yeah, so there's just something about that, like checking in with yourself and seeing where you're at. And only like, you know, you'll know if that's for you. Because I know there are so many nuances to food and diet and eating, and depending on our body and what state it's in, you know, if we're working through any abnormalities with our like digestive system, or our mental health around food, you know, like that. So that is like a very sensitive, and I honor that, because maybe I'll do, if someone wants to talk about this more, I can do a separate transmission, because I've gone through my own, you know, eating. I guess we can call it a disorder, like eating disorders through the years, and then refeeding myself and gaining weight and losing weight and like the whole thing. So this is a very sensitive topic, you know, and so I honor that, and I'm here to like have any discussions that anyone wants to, you know, about it. But okay, there was something else that I wanted to tap into before I close out. Oh, and also the word shape in different ways kept coming up. Shape. And I was in a supermarket that I haven't been to in years. What is it called? Wakeman's. And The Shape of My Heart from the Backstreet Boys came on, which I've not heard that song forever. And then I just kept hearing references to the word shape the whole day. Like whether it's like admiring the physical form, like its shape, being admired for that. I'm hearing The Shape of Water. That might have been a book and a movie, I'm not sure. The priest and priestesshoods working with water throughout many you know, ancient civilizations, and that wisdom coming back online. There's someone who popped up on my feed speaking about the mer lineages, like mermaids, and this idea of the mer lineages that have been water priestesses throughout, you know, so many generations, and working with anointing oils and the memory of water, and what the significance of water in rebirths, you know, why like so many religious ceremonies include water and the rejuvenation element of water. And it was interesting to think about like the mermaids and the mer lineages. And of course, I can't believe I never thought of this. When I read this from this person, she was talking about like the like Merlin, which I've worked with the energy of Merlin so many times, but like the mer, M-E-R prefix of being these priestesses and priests of kind of like I'm being shown in the Avatar The Last Airbender, like what was her name? Kitara? I can't remember her name, but she was like the water alchemist. What did they call her? The she specialized with working with water. And well, that's a whole other topic in itself, but the idea that, you know, we are literally born, before we're born, we live in amniotic sac, right? Like the salt water, basically. And so coming back to the roots in that way and how we're shaped, you know, like in our mother's womb and all the external environmental factors that the mother is dealing with that then imprint that water that imprints on us. So there's really something about like memory, water memory, and like witnessing that, allowing that, having that awareness, and working with that as well. Okay, a few more aspects that came through. You could be seeing like a specific animal, bird that reminds you of a Hierogamic template or divine union that's like showing itself a lot. Some ones that have been coming up a lot have been swans, turtles, doves, and of course each one has its own like message behind it. Geese, red cardinals, so grasshoppers. So I kept hearing in the other day on repeat in my head, Patience Young Grasshopper, and I was like, where's that from? I think it's from like a movie or something. I don't know, but I kept hearing that. And then I listened to, I can't remember what, but something on YouTube, and they were talking about the grasshopper coming through as like a sign that there's something coming into. So the star in tarot also kept coming through, and I kept seeing the number 1717, 717, ones and sevens. So you could be seeing combinations of this. And the star card in tarot, whatever that means to you, there's this, again, that like bioplasma is like emitting from you more strongly. And I recorded last night something a little bit different, but something that I have done a lot in private. It was very vulnerable for me, honestly. But utilizing my hands as like just sort of, some people, you can call it light language, but it's just something I've been doing like for as long as I can remember. And I just like let my hands kind of like dance around and in candlelight sometimes in the dark, sometimes in the day, whenever. And I did it with candlelight, and I see these plasma fields come through, and sometimes it shows up on camera. And I was talking about that last night. I just got the urge to do it at like 2 a.m. So I did post that, but it's hard because I know what I'm seeing, but I don't know if it's like translating. Anyway, so that with the grasshopper. Oh, I've also been seeing 911, and sirens. The Archangel Michael frequency. I had a really significant astral experience with the bioluminescent blue energy field that came through as an Archangel Michael reference. Of course, Archangel Michael, all of the archangels or archangelic names have like a meaning. So we can look at it more as like the fields. I don't really look at it more as like a personified aspect. Like I'm sure it can take that form, but like more of like the emitted fields that like serve some sort of purpose. And yeah, like the sword of truth, like the Ace of Wands, or I meant to say the Ace of Swords in tarot, but Ace of Wands, yeah, they're also, speaking of Ace of Wands, this like new passionate beginning. And I did hear a song what did I do? Oh, I went into, there's a yoga room in my mom's building. I'm staying with my mom for a few weeks, and her building is really cool. I like it. And I went into the yoga room finally, because I had not had the energy, and it's like this spark is coming back and my energy has been coming back, and it's very exciting, but also, you know, trying not to burn it out and keep this Ace of Wands, this new passionate beginning. It can also be like in a more sexual context as well, like in a sexual reading, so that could be significant for some of you. You could be tapping more into like the Isis, the tantric Isis lineages, sex magic, things like this. But what was the song? I believe it's from Flashdance, the movie Flashdance. Oh. This feels so cheesy, but it was the song from Flashdance. Came on when I was What a Feeling by Irene Cara. So funny because the name Irene has been coming through so strongly, and I actually had a great-grandmother, Irene. I met her when I was little, but I didn't know her very well, and I've been feeling her around so much. So someone could have like a great-grandmother. Okay, so that's very specific, and I'm just realizing I had written down. Okay, so it's also 144 on the clock. You may be seeing 144, 414, 441. And when I was in the yoga room, and I was hearing the song, I noticed, I looked across in the apartment, the number that you could see, the only one was 144. And I was like, And then that song came on. First, when there's nothing but a slow glowing dream that your fear seems to hide deep inside your mind. All alone I've cried silent tears, full of pride in a world made of steel, made of stone, where I hear the music, close my eyes, feel the rhythm, wrap around, take a hold of my heart. What a feeling. Beings believing I can have it all. Now I'm dancing for my life. Take your passion and make it happen. Wait, this is so crazy. Pictures come alive. You can dance right through your life. And I didn't even realize this, but that, especially the part, take your passion and make it happen, and the beginning part about a slow glowing dream. So I had written down, without even realizing, the phrase make it happen. So yesterday I posted a transmission about you are ready, and then right after I was finished with that transmission, then the phrase make it happen just kept coming up over and over through songs, hearing people say it, through song lyrics. I just said that. And so it's coming through now, make it happen. And of course, there's such a delicate balance, or a dance, if you will, with the idea of making something happen and trusting what already is, and that, you know, that balanced approach of taking inspired action and also just trusting the process. So yeah, that is coming through very strongly. Yeah, what a feeling. So obviously dancing could be significant, but like I was saying, like last night, like I just felt like my hands needed to dance. And so there is something about the hands coming through, and again, the star card in tarot. So number 17, Palladian influences could be really strong right now. Orbs, plasma orbs, you may be seeing. Oh, thank you for the reminder. Okay, so my ears. There was a transmission that I recorded at some point about an out-of-body experience I had with what I identified was a Palladian frequency through an electric charge. And it was this being that had this illuminated, like self-illuminated electrical charge system on the outside of its body. It literally had like light, like external lights, and its wiring system was like on the outside of itself, and it presented itself as a Palladian masculine being. Now, I always feel like these experiences are potentials that are shown to us in ways. And so this idea of, because there's been a lot of symbology about like lightning, electrical charge, the mitochondria again, and working with the powerhouse of the cell. So relating it back to like the science of the ascension mechanics and also the grounded humanness of these aspects. So last night I had this sensation multiple times where my right ear felt like it was being twisted. Like it was very uncomfortable. It did not feel good. And I was just reminded my left ear, my right ear literally just like popped as I did that. That's so wild. And my left ear was having almost like a static, right where the opening would be in the ear. I could feel like a static. So there can be this, I feel like this has been coming through quite a bit lately. I have chills. This like rebalancing with the ear chakras, or whatever word you want to use, the ear energetic centers. And some of you may be having like these quote inner earth awakenings, and they say that the inner earth within the eardrum, there's like the shape of the eardrum is very significant to working with the inner planes and the inner earth frequency. So some of you may be having these reawakenings to that. Some of you may have already been doing this for a very long time, and you're just having a deeper reattunement, as well as you may be working with others that are going through this. I heard like onboarding process, kind of like as a joke. Some of you may work in corporate, or you used to work in corporate, because that felt like a little nod to that. Yeah. Let's see. Anything else? There could also be something about past relationships coming through, like memories, dreams. So I've been having these like dreams the last few weeks of, past romantic experiences that I've had over the years. And like what happened if I like played them out, some of them that never got off the ground, like what would it have been like? And I've actually been having this off and on for a long time. Or if I'd gotten back together with old relationships. And I have to tell you, in every single one of them, I've been being shown this like how it would have played out if some of them that didn't get off the ground would have gone. And the same, we'll say like divine masculine collective that feels like part of this union has been showing up in ways synchronistically in all of these past romantic experiences. Like even if it's just the initials, or like a part of them is in every single one, like none of them worked out because something else, like something, there's something else that's been there the whole time, whether you know this person or not, or whether it's romance and or like a business partnership or multiple, however it's going to show up for you externally. It's like there's been like hints and clues the whole time is basically what I'm being shown, and like everything that hasn't worked out. And I know that sounds oversimplified, but like I've had countless dreams of this sort of energy weaving itself in. So some of you may be experiencing this in your own way, or maybe in a similar way. Or maybe it's like, I don't know, a specific sport that you always thought you wanted to play. Or like, okay, so there also, let's use that example of a sport that you always wanted to play. And for some reason you never could. There could be multiple things. Maybe you weren't meant to do it until now. And when I say meant to, like there's something about our divine blueprints coming through. Or maybe that interest in that specific sport was actually meant to lead you somewhere else. Like there's something about like following desires and understanding why certain things haven't worked out until this specific point, and some clarity like emerging through that. And I was thinking about this last night. So let's say this divine masculine collective this is very specific, but there's a reason why I'm saying this, has this desire to just eat fruit and be on the beach. And let's say they think that's just their dream life, just eating fruit and being on the beach. Maybe that's true, but maybe there's also, they just need a week to do that, and they think that like you're putting it on a pedestal and they don't do it, and then maybe they would meet someone doing that could help them start a new business. Or maybe that is their dream, and then building from there's something or someone else, that's a part of it. And it's like there's like a piece of this desire that is so strong, and maybe it's like cycling back around, but you may not know the full reason of why. you know, like that's a very specific example, but these are just some things coming up. You may hear banging. I'm in an apartment building, as I mentioned, and it's a new building, so it's built, let's just say, not very well, and you can hear a lot of things. But the right ear pain twisting that I was speaking of, so interestingly, as I was having that experience, and I had to go to the bathroom last night, and when I went into the bathroom, I started to hear like a double pitch frequency come into pressure shift in the ears. And sometimes when that happens, I'll hear like the absence of sound. Like I'll hear like a void, like there's nothing, and then the pitches will come in. And interestingly, it was in both ears. And as it started to happen, I actually went to get up. Normally I can feel it coming, but this one was kind of a surprise. And then it kind of stopped midway, and it like, I could still feel it, but I couldn't experience it the same as I usually do because I interrupted the process. But that feels like a message in itself. And last night when I was posting the hand candlelight transmission, the phrase that kept coming through was, 'tis the season of the unexpected. Expect, like there's something about the unexpected. And I was talking about a transmission that I have not posted yet. I think it's actually going to be like a digital offering because it wound up being quite not what I expected, and it's pretty lengthy, and I feel like it, yeah. So that, I'm still playing with the title, but I think it's going to be the dimensionality of ascended mastery. But in that transmission, I was shown like the collective is probably getting an unexpected, receiving something unexpected, in particular like a message or something of that nature. And then as soon as I finished recording that transmission, within minutes, I got a very unexpected message. So yeah, the season of the unexpected. 1:55 on the clock. Okay. I also had a kitten at one point, 2 kittens, and I gave them to friends who still have them, and I get to visit them. But I saw one of their names on a license plate the other day. Well, when she was a kitten, I named her Pippa because she sounded like a little pipsqueak when she meowed. But now everyone just calls her Pip. But anyway, I don't know why that came through. So there could be something significant again about like pets, cats, dogs, horns. Yeah, like the judgment card blowing the horn. Yeah, there's some sort of this idea of judgment and like stepping deeper into a truth. I think that's where I'm going to call it. So thank you very much. Yeah.